Smash the like button if you believe that the final testament was holding back Karrion Kross from moving up further in the mid-card.
So here's why Paul Ellering and AOP got cut from the World Wrestling Federation. Is mainly because Karrion Kross proved that he did not need them. He never did. You see, Karrion Kross does not need a faction. That guy can talk. All you have to do is give Kross a push. He does not need a faction. He does not need a manager. It was just an odd pairing, right? Why would you bring in Paul Ellering? He's supposed to be a manager, which means he needs to talk. But Karrion Kross, he was doing all the talking. So what was the point of Paul Ellering coming in? And what purpose did AOP serve? Nothing. When Karrion Kross was interacting with The Miz, that's when Kross got over. That's when people noticed, you know what? Kross is a very talented guy who does not need a faction. I think Karrion Kross is a low-key, unsung hero on Raw. He's been doing great work for the past 6 months. I really like how Triple H has been pushing Karrion Kross in that mid-card. And that's why they cut Paul and AOP, because he proved he did not need them. Hell, he was better off. He was more entertaining with his wife. That's about it. He did not need anybody else in his background. I think management has been scouting Karrion Kross for the past 5 months, and I think they were doing testing. They were trying to see, did Karrion Kross really need Paul and AOP? No, he proved he did not need them. You see, people got mad at Vince McMahon when he released Paul Ellering and AOP. But let's be real. I feel like Paul Ellering is past his prime. I'm sorry. If I don't see any Road Warriors, that means he's not useful. This is 2025. And if Paul Ellering is not talking, that means he's useless. What was the point of adding Paul Ellering to this faction if Karrion Kross was doing all the talking? That's like Paul Heyman not talking. That would not make any sense. Why would you add Paul Heyman to a faction if he's not the main one talking? That wouldn't make any sense. Let's talk more about AOP, because I feel like they are the definition of vanilla big men. They are vanilla giants. In 2025, you cannot be a tag team who can't talk. And Paul Ellering was not even talking for them. So what were they good for? They were just big guys who can't talk. Bruh, there's tons of those kind of guys at the PC. So why would you need AOP? They were useless. In this new era of fake pro wrestling, we have to move past tag teams who need a manager, right? Just look at Santos Escobar and his faction. They released his manager because they felt like she was not doing anything besides being eye candy. They felt like Santos was better off on his own because he was doing all the talking. That's why they released Miss Lopez. They felt like she was useless. She was not talking. Santos was doing all the talking. So yes, being eye candy can also get you released. Let me rephrase that. Being useless eye candy who does not talk, yes, that can get you released. I just feel like we need to move past tag teams who need a manager. This is 2025. This is not the 1980s where the Road Warriors, they need a manager. Those times are over. You need to know how to talk because the audience is not going to have a connection to you. Paul Ellering is an older man. The newer generation does not know Paul Ellering. So what was the point of bringing him back? It's just AOP did not evolve. It's like you were on the indies for the past 5 years and you did not evolve. Learn how to talk. Learn how to speak English. This is a new generation. The fans have moved past tag teams who can't talk, but they have a manager. What if that manager is not hitting? What if that manager is not clicking with the audience? What are you going to do as a counter? If you are AOP, nobody knows or cares about Paul Ellering in 2025. So what are you going to do to rectify that? You have to know how to talk. Karrion Kross cannot be your mouthpiece because Karrion Kross, he's trying to get over himself. So you have to help yourself. It's just in this new generation, the fans don't care about two big-ass giants with a manager. Nobody cares about those tag teams. This is no longer the 1980s. You need a gimmick. You need a character. You need to know how to cut a promo. Times have changed. Nobody cares about the monster tag team with a manager. You have to evolve. Learn how to talk. And also, if you look at the past tag team champions in the World Wrestling Federation, none of them had a manager. Not the War Raiders, nobody. Not Nathan Frazier and Axiom, etc. The Usos, none of them had a manager. That means you gotta move on. You gotta get better as a fake pro wrestler. You can't rely on managers to talk for you. Times have changed. So they felt like Karrion Kross was carrying Paul Ellering and AOP. But why would you carry Paul Ellering if his job was to be a manager and talk, but he's not talking? So what is he good for? You already have Scarlett, who does not talk. So you can't have two managers in your faction who don't talk, but you do as the leader. So you gotta pick one. And obviously, they picked Paul Ellering to release. You can make the argument that the past 6 months, this has been the best we have seen of Karrion Kross. And I'm talking about his run when he was in NXT. I think his Raw run is way better than his run down in NXT. I really like this version of Karrion Kross. At first, I did not like the long hair, but so far, I'm used to it because Karrion Kross, he woke up. He realizes if he becomes a bland, bald-headed fuck like Rick O'Shea, he will get buried because bald-headed fucks don't get pushed in this business. What part of that don't you understand? Name me a bald-headed fuck who's a main eventer on Raw. I'll wait. Name me a bald-headed fuck who's a main eventer on SmackDown. Name me a bald-headed fuck who's a main eventer down in NXT. That's my point. Bald-headed fucks don't draw any money. Unless you are Bill Goldberg or Stone Cold Steve Austin, this business will eat you alive if you are a bald-headed bland fuck. That's why Karrion Kross got released the first time. That's why Karrion Kross grew out his hair, because he found out what was the main issue. He was a bland, bald-headed fuck on Raw who did not stand out unless he was with his wife. That's facts on facts. When you are a bland, bald-headed fuck, you are at a disadvantage in this business. You better have a larger-than-life character if you are a bald-headed fuck. Now, let's talk about Hollywood Hogan. He's different. He was not fully bald, so there's levels to being bald. Hogan still had a small amount of hair. Go look at Rocky 3. Hogan had hair, you dumb bitch. So Hogan was not officially bald. He was balding, but he was not bald. There's a major difference between being bald and balding. So that's why Vince McMahon gave Hogan a push, because he was balding, but he was not bald. Why didn't Ryback become a main eventer? It's because he was a bland, bald-headed fuck. How come Ezekiel Jackson was not a main eventer? Because he was a bland, bald-headed fuck. Do you get it now? This is why Karrion Kross decided to grow out his hair. Now, let's talk about Rocky Maivia. I bet you are saying, but he's bald. Okay, let's do a comparison. Who was more over? Rocky Maivia with the shirts and the hair, or the bald Rocky Maivia? That is not even a question. The answer is the Rocky Maivia when he had hair, when he had the fancy-ass $500 shirts. That Rocky was way more over than the bald-headed Rock. That's facts. I'm talking about the Rocky Maivia when he had hair and when he was wearing those expensive shirts. That Rocky was way more over than this current Rock who's bald-headed. That's my point. Bald-headed fucks don't draw unless you are Rocky Maivia who used to have hair. So he's living off of rep. He's living off of nostalgia. That's why Rocky is still over as a bald guy. He is living off of nostalgia back when he had hair. That's facts on facts. What happened to the Good Brothers? They got released. Why? Because they are bland, bald-headed fucks. That's facts on facts. All right, so let's get back on Karrion Kross. Right now, he's having the best run of his life. Do I see him as a future IC champion? Yes. There's a strong possibility that Sheamus might beat Braun Breaker for the IC belt at WrestleMania. So, Sheamus versus Karrion Kross this summer. I will not rule that out. But also, we have to give The Miz credit. The Miz put over Karrion Kross. He gave Kross the rub based on association. So it feels like The Miz co-signed Karrion Kross. He put him over. They had a great back and forth. Those were great backstage segments. I mean, you can make an argument that Karrion Kross buried the Wyatt Six. You can make that argument. Will the Wyatt Six ever recover from being dethroned by Karrion Kross? Karrion Kross was the first one to pin Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. So I feel like Karrion Kross is having the best run of his whole entire life. Also, I really like his voodoo gimmick. Let's be honest, Karrion Kross has a voodoo gimmick because he keeps pointing out the fact that every good guy who feuds with Kross, he always points out the fact that they always turn heel months down the line. So low-key, he has a bad luck voodoo gimmick. By the way, here's a fact that you forgot about Karrion Kross. Every good guy he feuds with, they turn heel months down the line. So in hindsight, Karrion Kross has a bad luck voodoo gimmick. Just look at Kofi, Xavier Woods, Drew Mack, the Mac Daddy. Everybody who feuds with Karrion Kross, they become heels down the line. Prime example, Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley. They turn heel down the line every time they feud with Karrion Kross. I think that's a great gimmick. So, to wrap this up, I believe that in the year of 2025, this will be the year of Karrion Kross. And I also think that Karrion Kross will become the IC heavyweight champion this year. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a reason why Triple H chose Ludwig Kaiser over Giovanni Vinci. There's a reason who's bald and who's not bald, who got released and who did not get released, who's being pushed is Ludwig Kaiser. Why? He has a great look and he has hair. Giovanni Vinci is a bland, boring, bald-headed fuck. Case in point, that's why I'm never wrong. That's called facts and evidence.